where I live in Kansas. I was born and raised on the Potawatomi Indian Reservation, and I learned to speak Potawatomi because I was raised by my grandmother who spoke Potawatomi, and then my grandpa who lived there, and he spoke Potawatomi, and I just learned it from them. Down through the years, I knew how to speak it, but I didn't speak it very much because most of the people I knew kind of spoke English, and we had a lot of people out on the reservation who could still speak the language. It wasn't until the last 10 or 15 years that, well, let's say 10 years, that I noticed that there weren't very many people who could speak the language. And because I could always speak to those who could speak the language. And but in the last few years, I noticed there's no one to talk to anymore, because there's nobody that can speak it. In the last 5 years, I noticed that there's hardly anybody that can speak it anymore. And I was really proud to see that the Potawatomi tribe, not up at Mayetta, but the Citizen Band, the Prairie Band, and the 4 bands up in Michigan and Wisconsin and Indiana were also interested in it. So they started a little survey finding out how many people who could speak Potawatomi yet that were living. And they took a big old survey, and they come to find out there's only 33 people that can speak Potawatomi. There's only 33 people left out of all the Potawatomi tribe. There's I'll just say they're all there's one tribe, but there's 5 or 6 bands. And boy, they come to the conclusion that we're losing our language. It took thousands and thousands and thousands of years to develop this language, to be able to talk and to be able to communicate with each other, to develop this language. Yet in the last 10 years, the last 20 years, and if we don't watch it, in the next 10 years, it'll be gone. It'll disappear. We won't even be able to say one word. Maybe the only word we'll know will be how Nikon, because we see this written in a paper. Maybe that's the only language you know. I know most of you, wherever you're from, you might say you're an Indian, and someone might say, well, how do you say this in Indian? And you don't know how. That's true. That's even amongst our little Indian kids. They nobody's taught them. They don't know, and in a few years, this language is going to disappear from the earth. The only salvation you have is if you learn one word at least, and you can pass it on to somebody, and they pass it on. In 10 and 100 years, at least you'll know one word. So it's a little hard job to try to start learning now, but we're going to try. We're going to try. This language is a funny language. It's a descriptive language. It's hard to write. It's hard to read. A lot of people look at it and they say, oh, that's impossible. You can't learn that language. But some people have learned it, so I think that we'll start today on trying to at least learn one word. If we can just take one word and take it back to our people and teach them to say how, well, we start. So that's all I got to say right offhand. this lady's going to write down the word as we say it, so that maybe you can remember it. But the first thing that we want to start out today will be we want to be able to speak as soon as we possibly can. We don't want to just have a bunch of words and not be able to speak. So we're going to start talking Indian right off the start. Right now, when we leave, we're going to be able to talk Indian. Potawatomi. But before we start, there's some words that's kind of hard to say. So I'm going to teach you to say one word, and if you can say this, and we can learn the rest of it. And this word is milk. Milk. Is anybody in here can say milk in Potawatomi?
Milk.
Okay, we have two people that can say it. Does anybody else say milk in Potawatomi? Okay, the way we say milk in Potawatomi is no nak na yabo. No nak na yabo. If you can say that, we can learn the language.
Say it again. No?
No nak na yabo.
No? Neck?
Na yabo.
No yak na yabo.
Okay.
Na, Yabo?
See, if we can all say that, we're going to learn this language.
No neck, no yo. No yak.
Okay, now we're going to listen to a real Indian who can say it real good, and we're going to listen to how he says it. Tony, say it.
No nak me yabo.
No, Yabo?
Okay. I'm going to say it again. No nak na yabo. If you can say that, you can learn this language.
But N-O has got to be probably an E or an A.
This?
Yeah, it's not an O.
No neck,
Yabo.
No neck, na, Yabo?
Have some of the, see this for now. We just want to just a little start. Okay, I'm gonna say it again, and then you want to see if you can say it. No nak na yabo.
No nak me yabo.
Okay, if you can say that, we can start learning this lesson. But it's kind of that way. This language is kind of that way. It sounds awful strange. It's strange because you've never heard it before. But after you say it a few times, you can say it. Now that has a literal meaning. It means a drink that is good and healthful. That's milk. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to learn is real simple. It's a greeting that the Indian tribes in the kind of the plains, most all of them use, and you know that is real simple. They'd say how as a greeting, how, and Potawatomi is how ni kan. But they always held up their hand. They used to always do that. It wasn't just just how, and it kind of later on kind of got slang, and they'd say ho, but it's how ni kan. You've got to hold up your hand. That's a greeting, so that's one way you can start teaching it, see. How ni kan, you at least you're saying, you're talking a little bit Potawatomi right there. You're greeting somebody. How ni kan, ni kan is friend in Potawatomi. And Tony told me he always heard him say hope, but that is that slang part of how, how hope and how. It's how ni kan, but remember that holding up your hand. Remember that. I think that's kind of the way they said the Plains Indian used to greet each other to show that they didn't have anything in their hand, a little tomahawk or something to throw, or a knife. So they'd say, howdy, cause you're greedy. So we learned something already. We learned something in Potawatomi. Let's learn another one. It's ni jina. That's ni jina. That means how are you? Ni jina. Not everybody can say that either. Even though I just got through saying it, you can't say it. Because I don't know why. So I think we have to practice ni jina.
I thought they said it. No, so no.
No,
Somebody said na sana.
Yeah.
Well, that's another. That isn't.
Another slang.
No, they're not the same. They're not the same. Ni jina is how are you? That na sana is like take it easy or
Yeah, be careful.
yeah, be careful. I wish Bud could hear it better. Okay, we don't want to. Ni jina. How are you? Ni jina. Do we all have that? Do jina. So you can, when you go out of here, you've already learned how to say how ni kan ni jina. Yeah, at least you learned that much. You've learned that much already. And you want to take this back, if you want to teach this, your little kids or anybody that's part of one of the different parts of the world or country, so this language won't disappear from the face of the earth. At least you know one or two words. So we learned something already. We learned, I didn't make up this list, this came from somebody. But anyway, I'm using it. The next reading word is an answer, you know. Oh, I'm fine. Anguish, you know. So. That's what it means. Yeah, that's an answer to ni jina. You know, if you're I'm getting along fine. Anguish, you know. Anguish, you know. You know, I forgot how to say milk already. How do we say that? Oh, yeah, that's really good. That's really good. My golly, that's good. Okay, how are you, friend?
How are you? Need you know.
Yeah, how are you? Need to know. You could say Nichana Nikon too. You could say that because you already know what friend is, Nikon. Okay, so we've learned to speak a lot already. And you learned how to say, oh, I'm getting along all right. How would you say that? Yeah, that sounds good. That really sounds good. So you'll be able to talk a little bit Indian already. A little bit. Okay. So we may as well learn how to say yes. Does anybody know how to say yes?
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, say it so we can get the right emphasis.
Gonna get.
Gornigat. That's the right emphasis. It's not kunigi, it's kornigat. Kornigat. If you got to practice this a little bit. Okay, let's hear you say how you say yes again. Kornigat. Okay. Yeah, we learned another word. So we can talk just a little bit now. We can say, at least we can say yes. That's conversation. So let's see if we can say no. The way we say no is how? Sure. Sure. So you've learned how to say yes and no in Potawatomi already. And we know how to say, how are you? How is that?
Each enough.
Each enough. Okay, how are you? And, okay. Oh, geez. Let's learn how to say good. That's conversation. The way we say good is won it. Won it. That's conversation. Won it. A lot of times they have a wanted E too. Wanted E. That's a little, that gets, I think when you say wanted E, you have to kind of point at it, or. Wanted is good. Wanted, we understand. Now that's a little conversation. And bad is the opposite of good. Is what? Anybody know? Yawn it is bad. Yawn it is bad. So we're learning some words that we're going to be able to talk in just little, at least you can answer. Okay. Oh, let's learn how to say it's hot, then it's hot outside. The way we say hot is shot at. And we're learning these words because we want to talk, a little conversation. If we see a Potawatomi tomorrow at the powwow, at the powwow grounds, we could say, we'll say, shot them get. That means it's hot outside, and then he'll say, oh, that must be Indian. He's not Indian. Shot them get, that means hot outside. So you're walking through this Potawatomi and shot them get. See something in it. See if you understand what that means. Shot them get. And there's a shot that too. Shot that means it's just hot. Just hot.
I used to say it's damn hot.
Let's have cold. Cold. I don't see that yet. Cold. Since we had hot, let's have cold.
Sinyamgit.
Okay. Sinyamgit is cold outside. Sinyamgit. Sinya is cold and Sinyamgit is cold outside. Oh, I hope we can remember this to go back to the rest of to your parts of the country. Cold is Sinya and cold outside is Sinyamgit. Sinyamgit. Cold is Sinya and Sinyamgit is cold outside. So that's conversation. See if it's cold. We have I don't know if we're going too fast or not. I forgot how to say good. No, one is bad. Yawn it. It's easy to get off on a tangent on teaching or talking about these things because you can say for ugly. It's almost like yawn it. Ugly is yonse. That means ugly. Yonse looks ugly. But anyway, that's just the yonse. Yonse. I don't know where I got that one, but anyway, we got it in there somewhere. Because it sounds like yawn it, Bud, can he see this?
I don't believe he can see the board. I told him that.
Just point at him to see it. See his mouth. Understand that word. Okay.
You're wrong over here. It's just hot.
Shut that.
Outside socket. Shut that and get
It's just hot.
just hot.
Shut and get it's just hot.
No outside socket.
He says it's wrong.
Yeah, well, his is a little bit. Soggage is outside. That's another word for in the Potawatomi. Soggage is outside.
So you want me to?
Oh well, I don't know if you want to. You can. Soggage is outside. But if you were outside, you say.
Outside, you gotta put socket.
Know that for us. Sawkish. Sawkish.
Soggage.
Sawgitch.
But if you're already outside, you just say shut them. That's what you do. If you're already outside, you just say, like if you were walking outside and it's real hot, you say shut them. But if you were saying like a hot stove or something real hot, you touch it, you say shut them. Okay.
Where does it say that word? No, it's just hot. There's no describing in here out there. But she had outside, no, it's just hot. But if you, yeah. Like in here.
What we end up with? Oh. Sinyam, cold. And sinyam git is cold. It's cold outside. There's another word for cool. Cool is hail. 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 Cool.
See, that's all good. That's all good. You used to use that on old dogs.
Yeah. No more.
On what?
No.
Oh, yeah, he's just making a conversation. He said that he used to tell his dogs, Sogich, that he used to get out. Sogich, go outside. Sogich is outside. But anyway, we didn't have that yet, did we? Did we have Sogich?
Not yet.
Okay. But that Sogich, if you want to learn one word, that means outside. I don't know how you spell it. Sogich is
I'm making
outside.
it up as I
Okay.
go along.
Okay. Sogich is outside. And he said that he used to always tell his dog that. His dog knew that he meant to get out. Okay.
I know what it is.
Now we come to another word, thanks. Thanks. We have two ways that they say thanks. One is equian, and equian. Equian, and there's a Miigwech. I think a lot of you have seen that in this Haunikon. They're both right, I guess. I've always known it to be Equian. I've noticed this Miigwech come into the language lately, not in the last 5 years, but the last 20 years. But maybe it was there before then. Maybe I never hear it, but I used to always know it as Equian. But I noticed in a lot of the Indian ceremonials now, when something is given to somebody, they always say Miigwech, Miigwech, Miigwech. And you see that. I see it in the Haunikon. They say Miigwech.
You think that could have got mixed up somewhere along the line?
I don't know. Yes.
See, we used to pronounce that Megwa. Megwa. Or Magwa. Thank you. And Equian was, that is good. So you would use Equian Megwa. That is good, thank you. That's the way we used to use it.
Yes.
I've asked questions about that, and I have been told that Miigwech actually was used a long time ago with traders when the Indians made a trade with the white traders. When they determined that the trade was good, that was enough, rather than thank you. That's now I can't even tell you where I heard that now, but somebody told me that the word really originally was used as that's enough. So that's confusing to me, you know.
Well, that'll go good with that Equian Megwa. That is good, thank you.
That is good.
But anyway, those are the words that they use for thank you now.
Mm-hmm. But they use them both.
They use them both. They use them both. They use them both. There's this language is a little bit different than the regular language. There's a lot of words that they don't have or they don't use, but and their meaning is just a little tiny bit different. Yes.
And when we pray, which would be better to use? Which, in saying thank you in our prayers, what is the proper word to use?
I don't know. I don't know. I was talking to an older lady one time, not too long ago, and I was asking her between Equian and Miigwech. She told me that when you say Miigwech, it's kind of like the Indian giver. When I give you a blanket, I'm expecting something back later on. Miigwech is to give, you know. Miigwech is to give. And then Miigwech is envy that or something. Literally, I think that's what this thing. But it turned to a thank you. There's a lot of, these Indians have a lot of customs, you know. And if you go to a powwow, you might see somebody gather up a bunch of money and go give it to somebody. And he'll say, Miigwech, but you turn around and give it all back to somebody else. Or you give somebody, we'll say, a horse, and you're expecting something back in return. There's the Indian giver deal, but I don't know. That's just what I heard. Now, how do we say I'm just fine? On Washishana. How are you? How are you, friend? Good. Yes. No. Hot.
Shot.